right, today's cook on the Komodo Kamodo is going to be a tri-tip cooked low and slow like a brisket. I'll cook it for a couple hours, then wrap it, and then put it back on the fire and cook it till it's probe tender to about 200 something degrees. I've also got a rack of St. Louis ribs on there, which I'm going to do 3-2-1 style. All right, I'm going to smoke a tri-tip today, brisket style. That's the tri-tip trimmed. I'm going to put the trim on the fire and render out smoked tallow. Later I'll put that smoked tallow on here when I wrap it. I'll put it on the fire for a couple hours, just like this with some rub. The rub is just going to be salt and pepper, that's it. All right, there's the tri-tip rub with salt and pepper. I got ribs in there already, and I'll render out the smoked tallow there. I don't ever use pre-cracked pepper from the store. I fresh grind my own from peppercorns right before I put it on. That store-bought stuff loses all its volatile organics. I use Jane's because I couldn't find my Lowry's. So I smoked the tri-tip on the Komodo Kamodo for a couple hours. And then I took it off and wrapped it in foil. While I was smoking it, I took all the fat that I trimmed off and rendered out the beef tallow. So when I wrapped it in the foil there, I poured all beef tallow in there with that. And that's the end result. I tasted it, it's really, really good. Went about 4 or 5 hours, I think, something like that. I cooked it till it hit about 190 and then started probing it. And once it got nice and probe tender, which was about 201, I pulled it off the fire and let it rest for a while. I did these St. Louis ribs at the same time, and for the rub, I used brown sugar with cloves and nutmeg and a little bit of salt and pepper. They are really, really tasty. Well, here we are 2 weeks later. I decided to smoke another tri-tip on the Komodo Kamodo. I trimmed off all the fat, put it in that pan and put it on the fire and rendered out the fat and got the tallow and put it in that jar. That top layer is the jus that came out of the foil after I foiled this. I cooked that thing for 2 hours on the smoker and then foiled it. One end was pretty thin, so I skewered it up against the meat so it wouldn't be so thin and wouldn't burn and dry out. So that's tri-tip number 2. We'll slice it up and see how it is. So I smoked it for about 2 hours at 225 degrees indirect using royal oak lump and some hickory and some coffee wood chunks. You see I got a pretty good smoke ring there. Then I had to leave the house, so I foiled it a little bit earlier than I wanted. It was 156 when I foiled it and put it back on the fire. And then when it got to about 190 degrees, I started probing it. And when it was probe tender, I pulled it off the fire and rested it for about 3 or 4 hours. And that's the end result right there. I just took a bite of it. It's extremely tender, super flavorful. Didn't get a super excellent bark. It's good enough. But like I say, I wrapped it in foil a little bit earlier than I wanted to because I had to leave the house for a while. But it came out really excellent, just like the first one.